My son, 11-year-old, requested sushi for his birthday dinner, so I made reservations at a local sushi place. Found out my in-laws were coming into town and they wanted to get together, so I invited them along. My sister-in-law hates any food that is of any Asian origin, says it gives her migraines, and in the past would usually decline going out if we did not accommodate her, and we almost always accommodated her. I spoke to my son about how his aunt did not like Asian food and asked if he would consider another location. He really didn't want to switch. He is obsessed with sushi. So I called in-laws, explained the situation, and told them they could come to our house for the Super Bowl the next day instead if they wanted. They said they wanted to see us on both days. I figured it was their decision. Sister-in-law calls me the morning we had reservations and asks if we can change the restaurant. I said I was sorry, but I already asked. I sent her the menu and told her they might have other food and to check. She again complained about the likelihood of getting a migraine. I told her I was sorry, but that was all my son wanted, and she was welcome to come the next day to spend time with us. She chose to come anyway. Long story short, she orders a Chinese dish, although other items were available. Hates it, almost vomits at the table. Then my mother-in-law and brother-in-law feel sorry for her. My oldest daughter also felt bad. All the attention was on sister-in-law when they brought out my son's B-day dessert. The whole scene kinda ruined the moment, but I tried to make the best of it. At the end of the meal, mother-in-law turns to me and says what a shame it is we had to have Asian food, and now sister-in-law will be sick for weeks. Apparently her migraines do not go away when she smells or eats Asian anything, right in front of my son. Son of course now feels bad. Night ruined. Am I the idiot for not picking a different restaurant? Edit. Son has other celebrations planned this weekend, so don't worry about him. He's gonna have a blast. We had a nice talk about when to and when not to feel guilty about something. This was one of those situations where he shouldn't take any of the blame. Sister-in-law was not formally invited. My in-laws stay with her when they come to town. She chose to tag along. I was hoping she would either not come or order one of the American dishes. In-laws are nice despite their enabling sister-in-law's behavior and her never-ending medical issues. I could not tell her to stay home. It would have ruined the night just as much and hurt my son's feelings. He loves them. Some of you are confused about the type of restaurant. Their main attraction is sushi, but they also have a menu with Thai and Chinese dishes, as well as a couple of American dishes for picky eaters. Update number 2. Thanks for all the responses and feedback. This is something I have been dealing with for 15 plus years. We are mostly low contact with sister-in-law because of stuff like this. She is a miserable person and I usually get so fed up, but since the in-laws mostly cater to her, as they have done her whole life, I put up with it a few times per year. Occasionally I have to ask myself if I am being reasonable, because when we are with the family, they plain old don't see it. So, she came to the Super Bowl party. My husband and I chose not to draw attention to her antics. She seemed weak, sat in the corner and didn't speak much to anyone. We carried on as usual and had a lovely time. Even mother-in-law and brother-in-law enjoyed themselves. They are not in town very often, so it's good to see them both. Few words were exchanged with sister-in-law as we chose to simply not feed into it. I am going the route of carrying on with my life and not feeding into the drama. Listen, but offer little response. Don't react to her attention-seeking behaviors. My son had a fun party with friends at a VR gaming place that afternoon. We took him to this cool sandwich shop after, with old-school arcade games and Stranger Things decor. Then we served wings and appetizers for the Super Bowl. Son collected $100 cash from gifts, so he's excited to spend it. That's all. Have a great night. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot your sister-in-law shouldn't have come. Your son is the star of the show. If he wanted to eat sushi, then sushi it is. Also, what kind of disease does she have where she can't eat Asian food? This is just so weird. Edit. I noticed a lot of you talked about having allergies to MSG and ginger. I didn't know that could cause migraines. R/today I learned. But that doesn't make sister-in-law any less of an AH. She should have eaten in advance before going to the sushi place, or brought her own food to eat there. Comment 2. Not the idiot, she just sounds discriminatory. Simple as that. No, MSG is very unlikely to be the cause, let alone the fact that MSG is also naturally found in fruits, veggies, and mushrooms that are not of Asian origin. Mother-in-law turns to me and says, "What a shame it is. We had to have Asian food, and now sister-in-law will be sick for weeks." Not only does racism not make you sick for weeks, sister-in-law could have stayed home. She didn't. She just seeks the attention she gets, as her family just bends over backwards for her. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around after my last post. I really appreciated all the support and advice you gave me. It's been a rough couple of weeks since the sushi restaurant incident, and boy, do I have an update for you. So, after the birthday dinner fiasco with my sister-in-law, SIL, things took an unexpected turn. Remember how I mentioned that my in-laws are nice despite their enabling behavior? Well, it seems like they finally reached their limit with sister-in-law's antics. A few days after the Super Bowl party, my mother-in-law, MIL, called me. She sounded different, like she had something serious on her mind. Turns out, she and my brother-in-law, BIL, had a long talk about sister-in-law's behavior and how it's been affecting the family dynamic. They realized that they've been walking on eggshells around her for years, always trying to avoid her so-called migraines and her constant need for attention. Mother-in-law confessed that seeing how sister-in-law's actions impacted my son's birthday was a wake-up call. She apologized for not standing up for us sooner and assured me that they would no longer tolerate sister-in-law's behavior. I was shocked, to say the least. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. But wait, it gets better. The next time sister-in-law tried to pull her usual stunt, mother-in-law and brother-in-law didn't cave in. They told her that if she couldn't be respectful of others' choices, she didn't have to join family gatherings. Sister-in-law was stunned. She had always gotten her way, and now, for the first time, she was being held accountable for her actions. Meanwhile, my son had been saving up his birthday money for something special. He's always been fascinated by remote-controlled cars, and he had his eye on this really cool model that could do all sorts of tricks. He was so excited when he finally had enough to buy it. The day he got his new toy, we invited the family over to watch him play with it in the backyard. Everyone was there, including sister-in-law. She seemed quieter than usual, probably still reeling from the talk she had with mother-in-law and brother-in-law. As my son showed off his new car, doing flips and racing around, everyone cheered him on. It was a heartwarming moment, and for once, sister-in-law wasn't the center of attention. She tried to make a snide remark about the silly toy, but mother-in-law quickly shut her down, saying that we were there to celebrate my son's happiness. The best part? My son, oblivious to the tension, asked sister-in-law if she wanted to try controlling the car. She was taken aback, clearly not expecting to be included. But with everyone's eyes on her, she couldn't refuse without looking petty. So, she took the controller and, to everyone's surprise, she actually started to smile as the car zoomed around. It was the first genuine smile I'd seen from her in years. The evening ended without any drama, and as everyone left, sister-in-law muttered a quiet thank you to my son. It wasn't much, but it was a start. And just like that, justice was served in the most subtle way, not with a grand gesture, but with a simple act of inclusion and a remote-controlled car. Friends invite me to birthday dinner, but then they leave me with the bill. Oh boy, they didn't expect what happened next. This happened a few days ago, and I have been conflicted since. Before my birthday, 5 of my friends asked if I would like to get some food and drinks out for my birthday event. I said sure, where would we go? Mike said, anywhere you like. I suggested a nearby steakhouse that I have been to in the past. We all met each other there. Mike was quick to order himself a drink and started talking about appetizers. I said, I don't normally eat them, but I will try one. We ordered our mains, and we all had ordered the steak and another round of drinks, at which point Adam also ordered a bottle of champagne. I said, you guys don't need to get me champagne. It's only my birthday, nothing too special. When Mike said, lighten up, birthday boy, have some fun, I did think maybe I was being too uptight. And since I was being treated, it's not too big of a problem. I may as well celebrate. Mike started arguing with the table next to us because they threw a French fry at him. I tried to explain to him that they weren't even eating French fries. He had them earlier and must have dropped one. Then he stood up and started swearing at the table. There was a child at the table about 3 years old who looked absolutely shocked. I told Mike to sit down and he started pushing me, saying, "That man threw something at me." The waiter came over and said there had been complaints against us. Mike just silently drank his beer and Adam started arguing with the waiter, saying the other table started it. The waiter said we needed to pay up and leave in the next few minutes before there was a problem. I said, "Thanks guys, do you want me to help pay?" At which point they all looked at me and Adam said, "You're the birthday man, right? You got money." I said, "I thought you were inviting me because it's my birthday as a present." Adam chuckled a bit and said, "Weren't you the one that chose where we were going, bud?" Adam got up to leave and said, "Let's go, boys." I started to worry. I thought they were pranking me or something and said, "You can't really go." Then Adam started to walk away. So I grabbed him a bit and he looked at my hand and said, "Get your hand off me, pal." I just looked at him and said, "Why are you acting like this, man?" They walked out and left me with the bill. I tried to explain to the waiter about the situation. He said, "Someone's got to pay and your table was causing a lot of trouble tonight." I tried to apologize, but he just looked at me like I was dirt. So I just paid. It was most of my money. I spoke to my friends after, and they just acted like nothing happened. I said, "You guys need to pay me back." And I got several replies along the lines of, "It's already over. Leave it." So I haven't spoken to them in a few days. I received a few messages asking me if I am still crying, or if I grew up yet. I haven't replied, and I want to know if I was wrong to assume that I wouldn't be paying. The whole situation had me feeling weird. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Another steakhouse. OP is supposed to pay post. How many of those will we be seeing? Edit. Adam got up to leave and said, "Let's go, boys." I started to worry. I thought they were pranking me or something, and said, "You can't really go." Then Adam started to walk away. So I grabbed him a bit, and he looked at my hand and said, "Get your hand off me, pal." I just looked at him and said, "Why are you acting like this, man?" They walked out and left me with the bill. ChatGPT, is that you? Comment 2. I said, "You guys don't need to get me champagne. It's only my birthday, nothing too special." When Mike said, "Lighten up, birthday boy, have some fun." Not the idiot. This is the exact moment where you indicated clearly, IMO, that you thought you were being treated, and nobody corrected you. Your friends are kind of sucky people. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a wild couple of weeks since my birthday disaster, and I've got some updates that I think you'll find pretty interesting. So, after the whole fiasco at the steakhouse, I was pretty upset with my friends, especially Mike and Adam. I mean, who leaves their buddy with the bill on his birthday, right? But things took a turn when I ran into Sarah, one of the friends who was there that night. She pulled me aside and said she felt terrible about what happened. Turns out, she and the others had planned to split the bill all along, but Mike and Adam decided to bail last minute, leaving everyone in a tough spot. Sarah's confession was a shocker, but it also made me realize that not all my friends were to blame. She told me about how Mike had been dealing with some personal issues, like his parents' messy divorce, which had been weighing on him heavily. It didn't excuse his behavior, but it did explain why he might have been on edge that night. Meanwhile, Adam had been struggling with his own demons. I remembered how he'd been acting off for months, ever since he lost his job. I guess the pressure had been building up, and he just snapped. It's no excuse for ditching me with the bill, but it did make me see him in a different light. After hearing Sarah out, I decided to reach out to the rest of the group, excluding Mike and Adam for the time being. We met up at a local coffee shop, and they all apologized for the birthday disaster. They even pooled together some cash to help cover the cost of the bill, which was a relief since it had pretty much drained my savings. But the real jaw-dropper came when Mike reached out to me. He sent me a long text, apologizing for his behavior and explaining how the stress from his family situation had been affecting him. He admitted that he'd been drinking more than usual to cope, and that it wasn't fair to take it out on me or anyone else. Adam, on the other hand, was a tougher nut to crack. He avoided me for days until I finally cornered him at the gym we both go to. There was a tense moment where I thought we might actually come to blows. But then, he broke down and admitted he was embarrassed about his financial situation and didn't know how to face me after what happened. We had a long, hard talk, and in the end, we came to a compromise. Adam agreed to pay me back in installments for his part of the bill, and I agreed to help him with his resume and job search. It wasn't easy to get to that point, but it felt like a step in the right direction. As for Mike, he's been going to counseling to deal with his family issues and has been laying off the booze. He's also agreed to pay me back for his share of the bill, and we're slowly rebuilding our friendship. It's not the same as it was before, but I'm hopeful that we can get back on track. The whole situation has been a ride of emotions, but I've learned a lot about my friends and myself. I've realized that everyone has their own battles to fight, and sometimes they don't handle it in the best way. It doesn't excuse their actions, but understanding their struggles has helped me find a way to forgive them. I supported my girlfriend after she dropped out of college, and now she claims being a stay-at-home mom is the hardest job in the world. But we don't have kids. I do love her, but I am really annoyed right now. My girlfriend could not get through college because it was too difficult for her. She was 24 years old. She was crying all the time and stressed out. She tried for multiple years, but couldn't do it. She said it was too hard for her, and after discussing it a lot, I said she could drop out and I'd take care of her. I liked the idea of giving someone I love a really happy and great life. She can enjoy herself and chase after hobbies. I always pictured myself with someone who was highly educated like I was, but I realized it doesn't have to be that way, and some people are happier without the capitalist grind. It was hard for a while, especially when we were younger and I was still in school. But I'm an engineer now. Since I am the only person providing, I work upper 40s to mid 50s every week. I love my job and I am passionate about what I do, but it is physically exhausting. It even zaps my energy on the weekends. I'm still really young though, so I am hoping to work less in the future. She does about 90% of the cooking and cleaning. But we have a smallish condo, live in a big city, and no kids. We do have a dog. So I was shocked when we were with new friends, and she mentioned that she was a stay-at-home mom, and it was the hardest job in the world, what she did. I corrected her and said we didn't have kids and didn't want any for the next 10 years. She said sure, but our dog is our child. For the rest of the dinner, she went on to talk about how difficult being a housewife is with a woman there that was actually a stay-at-home mom. It really rubbed me the wrong way. I wouldn't ever say I have the hardest job in the world. Afterwards, I asked her what she meant. I said she was living the life. I would unalive to be in her shoes. I'm clocking 50 hours a week while she's sending me pictures of her shopping at Target, spending hundreds somehow, and she has the hardest job in the entire world. I said that made me feel really underappreciated. She said I was underappreciating her. It is the hardest job. Cooking and cleaning is exhausting. She said she spent 6 hours on cooking yesterday, but I pointed out all she made was a Chipotle bowl. If that's taking you 6 hours, something is wrong. She said she was counting in the hours she spent letting the beans simmer. Like Jesus flipping Christ. It comes off extremely privileged, which she is, I guess. I told her she has no idea what it's like for me. She's never worked a full-time job, and it rubs me the wrong way. She's talking about how hard cooking beans is. I said if it was that hard, she can go back to school or get a job, and we'll hire a cook-cleaner. If I hired someone to do her job, I'd save a lot of money. It turned into a big fight. She called me an ass. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I mean this with love. Why are you subsidizing her life? You aren't married and don't have kids. She could pack her belongings up tomorrow and leave in a snap. She could find a guy who is willing to give her even more money than you and move on to them. Also, the resentment you're feeling probably isn't going away. It'll get worse the more you interweave your lives. There is nothing wrong with not going to school. There is nothing wrong with trying and not finishing either. But, like everyone else, she needs to find something to do to earn money. Taking care of a dog is nothing like being a stay-at-home mom with children. It's not even in the same stratosphere, honestly. I totally agree with your opinion that she should find a job. Wishing you the best. Comment 2. Not the idiot. She's lazy and in no way, shape or form remotely grounded in reality. Run now before you are legally stuck taking care of her lazy butt and the lazy mother that she'll be. She should be doing all the cooking and cleaning, in other words, contributing. Yet at the end of the day, she's not having to please a boss, co-workers or customers, and she's certainly not on the hook for the physical or emotional development of a child. Again, run. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. I've got an update for you, and let me tell you, it's been a hectic few days. So, after our big fight about her calling herself a stay-at-home mom and saying it's the hardest job in the world, things got even more heated. I thought we'd cool off, but nope. She doubled down on her stance, and I was still really annoyed. I mean, I love her, but come on. Remember how I mentioned she spends hundreds at Target? Well, I found out it's way more than I thought. She's been hiding credit card statements from me. When I confronted her about it, she broke down and admitted she's been feeling unfulfilled and shopping is her way of coping. I was floored. We're talking thousands of dollars here. I couldn't believe it. I work so hard and she's just blowing money like it's nothing. But wait, it gets worse. She's been telling our friends that I'm the one who encouraged her to spend freely to make up for the fact that she's not working. That's not true at all. I've always been about saving and planning for the future. It felt like a slap in the face. And then, the cherry on top. I came home early one day to find her not alone. She was with her ex, the one she always said was just a friend. They were just sitting on the couch, but it was obvious they'd been crying. When I asked what was going on, she said they were just catching up. But I saw a letter on the table. It was from a college, addressed to her. She'd been considering going back to school without telling me, and she was asking her ex for advice because she thought I wouldn't understand. I was stunned. Here I was, working my tail off, and she's secretly planning to go back to school and getting cozy with her ex. It felt like a betrayal. I couldn't even speak. I just walked out. I spent the night at a friend's place, trying to wrap my head around everything. The next day, I went back to talk. I told her that trust is everything, and she broke it. She cried, apologized, and said she was scared to tell me about school because she didn't want to fail again and disappoint me. We had a long, hard talk about our relationship and finances. I explained that we need to be a team, and hiding things isn't the way to go. She agreed to cut back on the shopping and to be more open with me. She also promised to end things completely with her ex, saying it was a mistake to go to him for advice. As for the school thing, I told her I'd support her if that's what she really wants, but we need to plan it together. No more secrets. So, we're trying to work through it. It's not easy, but I'm willing to give it a shot. She's looking into part-time jobs to help with the expenses and to feel more independent. We're also going to couples counseling to sort out our issues. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.